So in this section, we are going to be getting an introduction to the Django admin. So Django comes with this admin app that basically allows us to manage the data in our application. So to get started using it, we need a user who has a staff status. So basically who is a super user. Okay, so to create a super user, I'm going to go to the terminal. So here we are in our project in our virtual environment. So what we can do here is we can say Python manage.py create super user like this. So when we do create super user, they are going to ask us the name of the super user. So I'm going to say super user at app.com like this. Then the email address can be super user at app.com too. Then the password, I'm going to put password here. Then I'll confirm it as password. So they're going to tell me that the password is too common. I don't really mind. Then when we click yes, we see that the super user is created. So now this super user can directly log into our application. They don't need to go through the normal registration process. So now if we run back our server, so we're going to bring up the server again, and then we are going to go to our application. So when we come here and we go to /admin, so we're going to go to our base of the base of the application and go to /admin. So we are going to be brought to this login page. So this is the login page that the admins can use to log into our backend. Now here, they need to have a username and password. So we can use the ones we just used to create here in the terminal. So I'm going to put the ones, so we used super user at app.com, I believe. So I'm going to copy my user, have it in there. Then the password will be my password. So I can click login, and then we are going to be brought to this page over here. So right now this page has a few things. So first off, you realize that we get access to the models we create, and most of the time this is what you're going to be using this one for. So you get access to the models. So right now you can come here and see all the users we have in our application. You can see all the users, or if you have other models, you can see them here. We are going to be adding the to-do one here in a few. So I'm going to be showing you how to do that. Now here, you can see basically all the details about the users. Now there's more you can do with this. You can even use it to document your whole website, but we're not going to be going into that. So here you see that you can select these users. You can select them one by one, or you can select them at once. Then here we have something called actions. So these actions, you can basically do something to what you have selected here. Now you can be able to create custom actions. By default, it's going to be having one to delete the selected items, but you can be able to create custom ones here if you wanted to. So to add our to-do model here, we can go to our application. So on every app we create, you're going to see that this to-do app, it comes with an admin.py file. So in the admin.py file, this is where we can register our models so that they can show up in our admin section. So here to register them, we have the admin imported for us. So we also need to have the model, so we can import our model. So to import the model, it's going to be from .models import. It's going to be to do like this. Then we can use the admin. Then we say site. Then we say register. And then we give it the model we want to register. So when we save this now and come back here, so I'm going to come here and refresh. And now you can see that we have this one registered. So if we click on it, we should be able to see all the to-dos that have been created. But we don't have any now. But when you come to the users, so over here, you can see that we have filter options. We have options to search. We actually have pagination here. So it could show a number of users at a time, which is pretty interesting. So if we wanted to, by the way, so if we open this one up, you can see all the fields that are on this. And one thing you'll notice up front is the is email verified was not added here. That's because we changed the admin of this model. So if we come back to the application and come over here, you notice that here we are using the user admin, but we want to create our own model admin. So over here, you will have to set up a class. So I'm going to call it user admin, and then I'm going to disregard this. So this one can inherit from admin.model admin. So when we inherit from model admin, then we can have a way to specify more options here. So things like how it should list these headers, how it should list the filter options, how it should paginate, those things. So now that we have this model admin, what we can do is here we can set up a few properties here. So right now you see it's displaying username, email, first name, last name. Let's say we don't want first name, last name because our users really don't, not all our users have them. So over here, we can have list display. So now here we can say, okay, display only the username, the email, and the staff status. Actually, this is staff like this. So that's going to depend on this key here. So that's going to be is staff. So if we go to our abstract user, let's check if there is staff. So is staff. Yeah, so this is the one we want to set to. So moving on here, we have set the 3. And now if we save and come back to the admin, so I'm going to go to our authentication. Then I'm going to click here. And now you can see it is showing only staff status, email address, and then the username. Okay, but now we have lost our filter option. So whenever you use a different model admin here or you create a custom one, you really need to specify all these other details. So to specify the details, so that is what you're going to be doing actually for most of the models you create. So here what you can do is we can add like a way to search. So you can have search fields. So search fields can also be, so we can also specify search fields. And now if you come back over here and reload, you see we have a way to search. And we should search basing on this. So it should match any of these. Okay, so another thing you can set can be like the pagination. So the pagination is normal. You can write the pagination with like list per page. So it's like list per page. Then you do that. So you say list per page and then you set it to a number. Now, if we set it to 1 like this and refresh, you see that it's showing 1 and then it's showing these pagination options. Okay, so we can use that, but 1 is not realistic. So we can keep it to a reasonable number like 25, right? So that's gonna do it for like the options we can add here, how we can add like models, and we can also be able to create instances from here. So here we can even attach like owners. So since the models have relationships, we can be able to do all this stuff here. So I'm gonna add some here just to illustrate a few features. So let's save this, and then so by default you see that since when we add it, it's gonna be using this key here to show what you see here. So the key it uses is the one we return in the toString method. So if we go to do in models, it's that here we return the title, but if we return like the description, if we return the description and then refreshed here, it's using the description, but now they are the same thing, so they don't change. So let's create one that has a different one. So yeah, this is a title, description. Okay, let's attach this one to this. Save. It's using the description. If this toString returns the title, then it should be showing the title. But we normally would not want to show only one. So what we would want to do is have the headers like we saw in the authentication model, and also have the other details like the search. Here we don't have a search yet. So basically what you can do here in the admin, instead of us just registering it like this, we can just have our own class. So we can call it to do admin. So then here we can have these options. So I'm going to go to this authentication. So it's going to be here. Then I'm just going to copy the same. Normally they're going to be the same. So list item, of course, now here we change. So we're going to have title. Let's change this one to description. This one can be is completed, and then we save. So if we come back here and refresh, our server is off. Oh, this should be model admin. So after we set up the class, we need to add it in the register. So we can come here where we have register, we add the model, and then it's model admin. So we put a comma and then the model admin here. So if you come back here, refresh, you can see that now we have those options there. So that's what we're going to be doing here. So I'm going to go ahead and actually format this one a bit better. So now this looks quite good, but you will notice that our admin section is basically styled the same. We don't really have any customizations on here. We have things like Django administration, and then we have these are the things we might not really want to keep. If we go to the login page, if I come here, you see it says Django administration. We might want to change this, change the colors a bit. So what you can do here is we can override the templates that Django uses. So if I come to our application, so I'm going to go to our environment, and then I will look for Django. So Django is here. So when Django then contrib, then you can go to admin. So you can see the admin is an app, just like the other apps we have in our application, and it has templates. All right. So these templates, we can override them if we wanted to. And that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be seeing how to override some of these. Now here, you see they are basically arranged kind of like the structure we have. We have the base, then there's the base site, and there's a lot of stuff in here. So let's say we come in here and then we search for, you see where there's logout here. So if we came and changed this, let's say we change it to hello there, and we are in the virtual environment, by the way. So now if you come here, let me log in again. It's gonna be this one, and come here. You see that what we put here is being changed and it's being shown here. I guess you can see that. All right, so we can basically come in here and change almost everything we want. So we can override it, input xxx here, not xx, set y, just to show you how it's changing. So we can come here and you can see that these things change. Now you see that this is defined in a block. That means that we can be able to change everything in here if we override this template and we specified our own block user links. Okay, so as much as we can come in here and change things and they are going to update, in fact, we could even be able to change the colors. That's not what we'd want to do because this is in a virtual environment, and that means that if we use this in another section or if we like do another pip install, it's going to override things. So we don't want to do it here. But what we can do is override this. Since we have already set up our templates, we can go to our templates. What we can do is we can set up a folder called admin. So I'm going to do a new folder here. I'm going to call it admin like this. So inside admin, then we need to override a template called base_site.html. So that's one of the templates we saw in Django. So over here, we need to extend the template for base. Now I've already closed here, but if you went to Django, then contrib, if you want to contrib, then Django, you see that there's a template called base. So over here, we are going to extend it. We can say extend, then it's going to be, since the admin is an app, we can say admin/base HTML. By the way, I need to see it. So VNV. So over here, we have overridden the base site. So we see that the base site is what is showing the Django administration here. Now this is what we want to override, this block called branding. So I'm going to copy this and then we can go to our base here. Then we can override the block branding. So instead of us having Django administration there, I'm just going to replace everything here. So I'm going to remove everything and then we can put there our to-do list. So we can say to-do list or the name of our app, whatever it is. So now if we save this and come back to the admin section, so I'm going to come here and refresh. You can see that now it has already changed. Okay, good. So if we logged out here and came to login, it's that now the name of our app has changed, which is good, which is nice. So let's say administration, just to keep the Django flavor in it. But you see that now you can change that and you should be ready to go by just overriding that template. All right, so if we reload, things are good. Let's say we wanted to add our logo here. What we could do is we could just do normal stuff. So instead of us just having only the H1, we could have our image. So I'm going to go to our header. So quickly, I'm going to scroll to header. I want to pick our logo. So I'm going to cut this one out, actually copy it. Then I'm going to bring it here where we have this H1. So here, can bring it in and save. So if I save and come back here and refresh, that it's not showing. That's because we are not loading static. So we need to first load static too. So I'm going to copy this static tag, then I'll bring it here. So now if you come back here, you can see that we have our to-dos, then our logo, then we have our title. Okay, so if you wanted to put this one inline, we can basically do the pre-node CSS. So here I'm going to put a div here. And I'm just going to copy. Then I'm going to move everything here in that div. So I'll move them here. So for this, I'm just going to give it a height, just make it smaller. So I can give it like 50 pixels. So if we reload here, you see that it's small. To put it left and right here, I'm going to have a simple style. So style, it's going to be, we can have just display, flex, then you can have flex direction. That's going to be raw. Save, come back here, refresh. You see that they are now here and here. Wanted to make it really be in the center, we can just say align items center, and now if we refresh, you can see that it's in the center. So we can basically push this one aside a bit. So we can come over here and also give this one some style. By the way, after this, I'm going to show you how you can use an external style sheet. So here you can now maybe give it a padding left. So padding left, let's give it like 5 pixels. And now if we come here, refresh, start to get that padding. Okay, let me make it a little bit bigger. And you can see that now you can have this and have this at the same time. So let's reduce the logo size a bit again. So let's make it 40, just so it looks consistent. And now you can see that this is good. So I'm going to remove this X so we have to do the administration. I think it would look cooler. So we can go to here and we can just keep administration. So if we refresh, come here, so that now that's different. So let's log in here again. So we see how it's looking inside. And you can see that it's also here, which I think looks a lot better. Okay, so if we wanted to change like the style or the color of all this stuff from this green theme that it's using, this bluish greenish theme that it's using. So what you can do is you can come here to this where we're overriding the base template. So this is what every other template inherits from. So down here we can have another block. So this block is going to be for extra style. Okay, so here we can now link to our CSS file. So to link to our CSS files can be anywhere. So here I'm going to have a link. So it's going to be a CSS link. Then we are going to be linking to, of course, when we are referencing static files, we don't want to hard code it. We want to use our static utility. So here we can now say static. So we have a folder called admin in our static. So in CSS, we'll have admin.css. Okay. So now let's go and create this file in our static. So when we say static, Django is going to go to settings and then try to find where we said it should look for static. So if we came here and said and looked for where we said Django should look for static, you see that we told it to go to do site, then static. So that's where we want to go. So we're going to go to do site, then static. So we have CSS, that's what we are referencing. Then we're going to create admin. Then we can have admin.css. So now here we can basically override this. We can inspect and see what IDs or classes this has. So if we highlight this, you can see that this one is called header. And then it has this branding. It has all these details. So we can come over here and now override branding. So here you can say, okay, the ID of header. So the ID of header, we want it to have a background color. So let's say background color. Let's say I wanted to change it to like this. So let's change it to that and save. So if you come here and refresh, so it should be CSS, then admin.css. So here I'm going to do admin slash like this. So it matches with the path that where our admin CSS is. So saving that and now coming to refresh, you can see that now our color is picking up. So we don't want to use this actually. So I'm going to bring in this simple color here. It should be better to work with. So if we refresh, is that it is looking like this, which I think is quite better. Okay, so to change the background of these headers from the default one, we can come here and select them. So I'm going to come and select where we have authentication. So this is an A and it's under caption. So here, if we, let's say we came here in the CSS and change the background. So we can do background. Let's add red, and then you can see that changes it. So we want to change to add this now. So to add this, you notice that this is under app authentication, then module. So that means that all these other apps also have the module class. So if we come here and select them, let's say we select this here, you can see that it is also under the app module, then app auth, then module. So we want to select module, then we can select caption, then the A, and then you can style that. So what you can do here, we can do .module, then caption. So to select the caption, it's just going to be caption. Then we can give it a background. So here I'm going to use a background that's like some greenish. So it's going to be 30CAA 0 like this. So if you come and refresh, you can see that now that is taking over here. So if you wanted to change, let's say the color of this user, So you can just go through the same process. We select, and then we get where it is, then we change it by basically the styles might have. So you can select something like .model user, then air. Since it's the only one, it's going to be able to update. So that's just the basics of how you can change that. So for things like this, let's select it and see if we can change it too. So this is in breadcrumbs. So that means that we can now select all our breadcrumbs like this. So here you can have breadcrumbs. Let's have the same background color for them. So that means we can actually put it up here. So we can just do this. Refresh, come here, refresh. Oh, it logged us out. So let's log in. So let's log in. So let's click here. So this is not changed yet, but you can see that these ones have changed. Let's also change it and give it a normal background, the one we want. So it's breadcrumbs. So breadcrumbs is a div. So let me move it down. Oh, we have an error in our CSS. It's embarrassing. So let me move it down. So I'm going to come over here and have breadcrumbs and have div. Then breadcrumbs. Let's move this one down like this. So let's refresh it. And now you can see that it also picks it up. Okay, so we could just go through everything and change them wherever we don't like them. So for these buttons, we could also change them. So if we came and selected them, so you will see that these, basically they are input type submit. So you could look out for input type submits and change those. So to select all the buttons, we can have all the selectors of the buttons for CSS. So here we can have something like this. So we can select like all buttons, all inputs, with the type of button, and everyone would want to change it. So something like this. So we're going to change the color to meet like the one on top here. So if we refresh here, you can see that this now all picks up. So yeah, this save one is not picking up because it might have a different color. So I would encourage you to explore around, see what things you can change. So you can also take a look at the documentation if there are some things you're unable to change. But that is the basic idea of how you can approach changing things and how the admin works. So you can also be able to add things like reset password here if you wanted to. So look it up. You'll be able to find good resources. I hope this was helpful, and I will talk to you in the next section.